Hello, welcome back. Mike from Canavan Wealth. Today we are talking about annuities. So this article is going to go up on the website here around the time of the releasing of this video. It is talking about retirement annuities, or the annuities commonly used in retirement. I have a long history in the industry of absolutely hating annuities. That has changed a little bit here in recent times for two reasons, which I'll get to when I get to fixed index annuities. But let's kind of jump into the article and the types of annuities. So the big annuity that I hated for years were these variable annuities. They were very, very popular when I got into the industry, and they really only fell out of favor, I don't know, 3 to 4 years ago. These things effectively work where you're invested in some type of a portfolio, typically a portfolio very limited to the investments available within the annuity, almost kind of like a 401k where you're limited to the investments that are available. That's usually not the problem. And then there's that's like your cash value, and there's some type of benefit base on top of that, which is this imaginary number that they make up that is super complicated on how they calculate it. And people almost always mistake as their cash value, which it is not. And they generate what type of an income they're willing to pay you for the rest of your life as soon as you turn on the income based off that benefit base. So your cash value grows with however the investments are doing. Your benefit base usually grows off of some made up rules, and then they calculate how much income you're going to receive based off that benefit base. But they usually plaster the benefit base at the top of your statement, and you think that's what it's worth. But it's not. It's just worth whatever the portfolio is in terms of cash, I mean, if you got out of the thing. All annuities are tax deferred, which can be a real trap for people, getting trapped in the annuity world. If you're doing it with IRA funds, then the fact that everything becomes taxable as income is not a big deal, right? Because your IRA is taxable as income when you withdraw it, no matter what. If you put non-qualified funds into this, like a joint account or just money from your savings account, then all of the growth on this becomes taxable as income. And it all gets deferred, unlike a joint account where you're going to kind of pay some of those taxes as you go in terms of interest, dividends, capital gains, especially if you're in mutual funds. You kind of pay the taxes as you go. So let's say you put $300,000 into an annuity 10 years ago. It's grown by, let's say, $100,000. But at the end of that period, you realize this annuity is really not going to provide me any benefit. And it didn't really quite work how I thought it was. And I now want to get out of it. You don't realize that $100,000 in growth is all taxable as income the year you get out of that annuity, which is not very appealing for a lot of people to pay all those taxes in 1 year. So they end up having to roll it over to like a different, slightly better annuity where the situation just gets worse, where all of a sudden now whatever growth is also still taxable as income. And it just gets to this point where it's like, I don't even know what. There's no way we can ever get out of this because of the income taxes built up on it. So, all of these annuities are designed to generate an income stream. If you are not looking for an income stream, this is the number one thing I see about annuities is people who have them who have no intention of ever taking income from them, which means there's really never any reason to get into them, right? Because people will come in, they'll have $130,000 in an annuity that somebody sold them a number of years ago, and I say, when are you going to take the income from this? And they're like, oh, we're never going to do that. We have that to protect the money. And I'm like, this annuity, specifically these variable annuities, are doing nothing to protect your cash value. All they do is protect the income stream, which you don't even intend to take. Why don't you intend to take it? Because whoever sold this to you didn't explain that that's the purpose of annuities, most likely because they make their entire money off of selling annuities. And you walked into their office, and just like a Ford dealer who tries to sell you a Ford when you walk in, whether you need a Ford or not, they tried to sell you an annuity. So don't be looking at annuities, in my opinion, at least these type of annuity, retirement type annuities, or other types of annuities that have benefits other than what we're going to talk about here. But don't look at these types of annuities unless you have intention of taking the income stream that they are providing, which is what we're going to talk about when I finally get to kind of the good parts of annuities. All right, let's move on. So fixed annuities is really where the annuity industry started. They're much simpler to understand. And it's typically something as simple as you're going to give us this amount of money and we're going to guarantee this income stream for the rest of your life. Or you're going to give us this amount of money we'll promise it will grow at some fixed amount, 3%, 4%, until you want to turn it into an income stream, and then we will pay it out. These ones, classically, you used to annuitize. So it's important to understand that most annuities these days never get annuitized. Annuitized means that the cash value of that account, you effectively turn over to the insurance company, never to be seen again. It will never show up on a statement, and it's theirs. It's not your money anymore. And at that point, they start paying you an income stream. Most annuities these days, you do not annuitize, meaning you will always maintain some type of a cash value until that goes to zero, and then the income stream is it's paying you your own money. So this is one of the common things that people also, they think that the income stream is coming from some other source of money other than their own account, right? Variable annuity, if you give them $300,000 and then they start paying you $8,000 a year every year for the rest of your life, they just take it from your account, right? Your account starts to go down by the amount that they're paying you. If it never goes to zero, then they just paid you your own money the whole time. You effectively wrote them a check, they held on to your money, and then they paid you a certain amount of money every month for the rest of your life. And if it doesn't go to zero, they just paid you back your own money. The beneficiary gets the other part of it, okay? So fixed annuities are older style annuities, although they have started to see a resurgence here due to fixed index annuities. Easier to understand. You really don't see like old style fixed annuities anymore. I can't remember the last time someone even talked to me about one. But then comes the fixed indexed annuity, which look a lot like these old variable annuities, but with some very key differences. I think the biggest key difference on these is that investors have some hope of understanding them. These old variable annuities, oh man, they were hard to understand. I don't think I've ever had a client come into my office who had a variable annuity who actually knew how it worked, who could like explain to me in detail how the thing worked. Most of them would I would say like, what's this annuity? And they'd be like, I have no clue, but it seemed really good when I bought it, but it doesn't seem to be doing that well. In the back of my head, I think, shocker. Okay, so fixed index annuities is a fixed product in that your cash value is not technically invested in the market, and it's linked to some type of an index. Very commonly, the S&P 500, which is a major benefit over these old style variable annuities, which you would be invested in the market, but they would have all these rules on what you could and couldn't invest in. So even though they were taking on all the risk, some of the risk, not all the risk, you had to invest it relatively conservatively because they wouldn't allow you to just put it all in the stock market. Whereas these, you're typically the cash value is tied to some index, so it's going to kind of perform similarly over a very specific time period of what the S&P 500 did, or the Nasdaq, or the Dow, or whatever that is. So I've kind of associated these with your cash value doing better in terms of the growth. So they're gonna link your account value to some index typically, and then they're gonna base when you take income based on all sorts of things, your age, which all of them do, and your cash value. And the income stream is typically going to be presented in a very understandable way. They are not going to use the benefit-based garbage that variable annuities got so popular with. It's really just going to be presented as, here's your cash value, here's the income stream we'll pay you for the rest of your life if you want it. Once you turn that on, typically all bets are off in terms of growth, right? Every one of these is so different that I'm not talking to you about any specific product. I'm just talking about in general how they work. They still have the same tax deferral benefit / problem, depending on how you look at it. These ones, I feel, are the first annuities that have come out in the time that I've been an advisor, which has been about 10 years, where I feel like they actually provide benefit to the person buying them. They provide benefit and they can understand how they work. I still generally don't talk to retirees about them unless they present the other reason, which is why I've kind of come around to annuities more recently. At least not, down to the depths of my soul hate them anymore, which is financial advisors often focus on, we take their situation, our client's situation, we see all of the, materials that make up that, And we envision the plan to maximize their dollar value over the rest of their life. Because that is intrinsic to what we do. And in our head, that's what our client wants. But you eventually learn in this industry, when you talk to as many households as we do, that that is not what a lot of clients want. What a lot of clients want is security and knowing that they're going to have X amount of dollars for the rest of their life to spend. And they're not really worried anything about past that, right? They want to know, look, I need to know that if I retire, I'm going to have $5,000 of income coming in every month so I can live the life that I've grown accustomed to, and that so that I don't have to worry about money in the future. And if that is a client's only concern, then annuities are the only thing that can use that guaranteed word, right? I can show them all the Monte Carlo simulations and how well their portfolios, should do or as bad as it might do. But I can't tell them that I promise you, that income stream will come in. Now, of course, the guarantees are only as good as the income in the insurance companies, and these insurance companies literally have insurance companies that insure them. But ultimately, it comes down to the guarantee of a business, which you can take that at whatever value it's worth to you. But they're certainly more guaranteed than traditional investments, right? So if somebody wants an income stream, and that is what's most important to them, and annuities really are the only place where it can be guaranteed. Now, it's very important to understand in the inflationary world that we exist in that most of these are not going to be inflation adjusted. A lot of them will sell it. This is, even though it's under the type of annuity I like, this is the worst line in the article. Growth is designed to increase when prices are appreciating. Inflation hedge. I completely disagree with that. Typically, if you're counting on these to keep up with inflation, they may, but not in the way that some of these old variable annuities used to have inflation-based growth on them. Typically, also not very good. But this is based on inflation, in my opinion, being from a very specific source, which is supply issue, money supply inflation. If there are other types of inflation, and I would really hesitate for anyone to be counting on their annuity income stream to go up during high inflationary periods. It's no different for traditional investment sources, right? If you assume that, well, if inflation goes from 2% to 5%, then my investments are going to do 3% better, or my annuity is going to pay 3% more. I just don't think that's living in reality. I think that's a sales tactic. So I could drone on and on about annuities and my opinion of them, and you could get a different opinion from other advisors. I would tell you the one thing, my one plea to anyone, and I've done this with a couple of clients. If you are going, in fact, I've had clients tell other people that we're going to buy an annuity, say, hey, I'm going to get this annuity. What do you think? And they say, go talk to my guy, and he'll explain to you how it actually works, because he explained me out of it. If you want to buy an annuity, I'm not going to tell you that you shouldn't, but give me a call, send me an email or something, Mike at canavanwealth.com, and we'll set an appointment. I will tell you how it actually works. I'm going to give you the non-sales version of how your annuity works. I'll do the work. I'll spend an hour or so, poring over the prospectus and understanding how it actually works. And at least at that point, you've had two people tell you how it works. One, the salesperson, and two, someone who is uninterested in the actual sale of the annuity and is just interested in you really understanding it. Because most people, when they find out how they actually work, are like, oh, that's not how I thought it would work. It's not necessarily that it's not how it was explained to you. People often make assumptions about the minor details of annuities that are almost invariably wrong. So if you like the videos, please like it. If you want to see similar content, please subscribe. Otherwise, I will talk to you soon. Thank you.